Hello and welcome to So Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fancast. Yes, I got it, by a fervent fan.
And a frankly fascinated first-timer.
Yes, I'm really loving it.
You're cocky?
Yes, I am cocky. Sorry, I'm here sitting fiddling with knobs. And yes, and this is the story so Farscape. Okay. So the reason that I'm so distracted is because we've recently done our Season 1 quiz spectacular.
Yes.
Where I grilled you with great trivia, and then last episode I remembered, wow, I didn't do the scores. So that's...
I scored. Grant.
Yes,
you weren't just making it up, the scores.
Absolutely did. No, I've been keeping track on my handy-dandy little database that I've got for...
So how did I do?
Okay, well, let me walk you through some of your accomplishments thus far, because you started making predictions at the end of Season 1, and it started awarding you completely arbitrary Farscape fun bucks for that.
Yes.
You had, let me see, one of them was Aaron calling a house meeting. You got half points for that, 5 points. Zan would be standing around waiting for someone to have an emotional crisis, and that did happen in 121 Bone to be Wild. 10 points for there. And Aaron will rescue John. Also 10 points. You did forget Aaron's name in your story so Farscape summary in 121, so I docked you 5. But that's a pretty healthy, 20 points is how you started, the end of Season 2. And then you started actually doing this Trivial Pursuit.
Oh, yes.
So it was divided into categories. Bonus question, I guess. Yeah. Which of these categories do you think you did best at? We had politics, culture, history, science and technology, geography, and chemistry and biology.
I think I did best in science and technology.
Weird, because you didn't.
Oh, okay.
That was second to last place, even.
So what was the best category?
Amazingly, history.
Okay.
Well done. History with 40 points. Then there was culture with 35, chemistry and biology also 35. Then came science and technology with 25, geography with 20, and politics with 10.
Yes, I'm not a very political person when it comes to that sort of thing.
Not your strongest suit, but
difficult names and weird people and things happening. And...
You did quite well on the names, but I noticed.
Surprisingly, yes.
So you have a total of 185 points.
Out of possible?
Let's not. Hold on. That's placing a lot of... Okay, you just stand by, keep everyone busy, and I'll spend the next half an hour calculating that.
Yes, well, the story so Farscape is after the rescue of Ka Dargo and John and the shenanigans that they had with Moya and Tallinn.
Very good.
Yes, I didn't forget that.
Not just a city in Estonia.
Not just, it's a lovely city, by the way. And Chris giving the finger to Scorpius and deciding to leave with a big fuck you, leaving Moya rather distraught at her offspring having gone missing.
Yeah.
Having starbursted off, which apparently... he could do almost a cycle before he was expected to be able to do.
Yeah.
And I still believe that we're going to, see... Crace coming back with some sort of nefarious plot, or at least starting his own little peacekeeper organization where he tries to muscle his way around using Tallinn's powers.
Oh, very good. Oh, yes, I didn't write down your predictions from the last time. So that was definitely one of them. Do you remember what some of your other predictions were? Because I'll just add them to my little
not off
database.
the top of my head.
But so this one is Crace will return with... Oh, yes, he said he would find his own crew.
Yes.
With a new crew or organization.
He probably has a few people working with him, because he doesn't seem like the kind of person who would go out on his own. Scorpius is going to be the new long-term villain, basically. Yeah. He's going to be the one who is still pursuing John now, not because he murdered his brother, but because of the wormhole knowledge that he supposedly has. Crace is going to be more of a, antagonist, occasional ally as it warrants the plot.
There's a word for that, deuteragonist.
Oh, deuteragonist, okay.
That's right down the middle, can be either side at any given moment.
What's the dew to come from?
I know it from, deuterium, the isotope of hydrogen, and also, Deuteronomy.
Right,
and
Deuteronomy.
From the Bible,
right, yes,
where that comes from.
Yes.
So
that just means numbers, isn't it?
Oh, does it?
No, that's not a biblical book. Never mind. Yeah,
there's a bunch of numbers in there. I think it means in the middle, wibbly wobbly.
It makes sense. You've got a protagonist and an agonist, so a deuteragonist would be like half of this, half of that. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
That's a Battlestar Galactica reference. Well done.
Oh, I think it's older than that.
Yes, I know, but it was also in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, was it? Yeah. I don't remember that one. Who said that?
I think it was referring to 6, the humanoid Cylon,
right.
played by Tricia Helfer.
Maybe an episode was called that, 6 of one, half of the...
6 of one, 6 degrees of separation. Tricia Helfer, I believe, once co-starred with Ben Browder in a science fiction thing.
That's cute.
He told this story at a convention, which is in my past and your future, because you're living the life of an innocent, where you're not being exposed to anything. He told a story at a convention many years after Farscape had ended, and he'd started starring in the later seasons of Stargate SG-1.
Yeah.
And how that came to be. And he told a story that he was at a sci-fi hoi polloi party, and I think it's Brad Wright. Yes, Brad Wright, one of the creators of SG-1, was there, and he was chatting with Brad Wright when across the room, Tricia Helfer, the gorgeous, fantastic actress, Brad was ogling her and a little bit appreciatively and going, wow, it's just not fair. And Ben, who is a bit of a shit, said, hey, that's my wife you're talking about. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, says Brad. I'm sorry, said Brad. And obviously Ben can't keep a straight face and go, you're fucking with me, right? And then Ben goes,
hey, Trish, you my wife?
And Trish just turns around and goes,
hell yeah, I'm your wife.
just to with Brad Wright. So that's your score so far. Now, how much you've made these two predictions that Crace will return with a new crew and Scorpius will be the villain. How much do you want to wager on that? Because I think this is how you can spend your points. You can double or nothing them. You've got 185. I think you can be quite bold.
All right, I'll put 30 on each.
So that'll be 30 each. Okay. I think you're being a little bit conservative, but we're still just getting into it. I think you've got your eye already on the next season spectacular quiz.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll have to start. Now I've got an idea of what kind of questions you ask, I'll have to start paying a little bit more attention to details like that.
Oh, now you're going to start? Well, okay.
Details like that, I mean.
Let's start with the episode that we watched today. That is Season 2, Episode 2, Vitas Mortis.
Yes. Dargo gets led around by his mivonks, Chiana takes a chill pill, and Rygel finds a practical use for his ass. Thank you, Wookie Redshirt.
Don't say the second part, just say the first part. Thank you, Wookie. It is someone who has chosen an interesting Twitter handle that I don't think we were going to say out loud.
I kind of mumbled out the last part,
yes,
so I think we should be fine on that.
Yeah, we're okay, because Team Kaki has been of great assistance in helping to create these more titillating but less spoilerific synopses. So I've actually set up a little form, and hopefully we'll get some more crazy responses. Thank you so much for everyone who's helped.
Technically correct, and yet entirely useless.
Yeah. So in this episode, Car Dargo finds an Orican and decides to help restore her life, but at what cost? Says the official synopsis.
It's not like a choice that he has. It's like not he makes that choice. It's just that it happens like that.
Okay, so
Prepare the starburst.
we open with
a shot of the Fortress of Solitude.
I recognized it this time. I didn't recognize it the first time I saw it.
Okay.
It's a Photoshop job of at least one of the inspirations was the Sagrada Familia, the basilica in Barcelona.
I was wondering if it was the castle from Krull or something like that, but that was probably... It's also... I'm not sure if Krull... Was Krull Jim Henson? Probably not. There wasn't much in the way of puppets in there, so probably not.
No.
Yeah.
It's very good, though.
Then a little bit of bad CG green screening as they wander over towards the fortress.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, because I was just... They all have new outfits.
They do, yes.
I mean, Zan's wearing her vestments that she's worn before, which is...
And have we seen her wearing that, like, gold-plated... I don't know, what's it called?
Yes. The sort of... Oh, yeah. The sort of cowl over her shoulders. It's like a...
Yeah.
How do you
kind of
describe
like
that?
It's not like...
It is a piece of armor, right?
Right. It looks like it's like a necklace that's gone haywire.
Like neck pauldron.
Right.
Instead of a shoulder pauldron
and it's
like that.
It's got what I assume is Delvian writing on it, which presumably says my eyes are up here or something like that.
I'm with stupid. Yeah. Oh, but finally, Crichton. This was a huge moment for me.
Yeah?
This is the Crichton that I remember. He's got his spiky hair. He's got this fantastic duster. He's got a leather vest under it.
I kind of thought it was just like another evolvement of the PK armor and the uniforms that he was wearing. But it's completely new. It's
completely new. We haven't seen anyone wearing this before. But yeah, it does have sort of PK vibes to it. So maybe that was some spare clothes left over by the commandos.
Yeah.
Because they mentioned that they've recently been to Commerce Planet, where they learned that there was another Vulcan, Luxon in the uncharted territories, and so they went to investigate. Dargo, along with John, who is kind of his bestie. If you got those vibes.
He calls him brother at one point.
Brother, that's her problem.
So they're in the Fortress of Solitude.
Yep.
And there's like some almost like feline lizard-esque creature skittering about, who is like ostensibly going to introduce them to the Luxon. Mostly does a little bit running around. John is being particularly a little bit standoffish almost. I noticed he was very brusque in the beginning of the episode.
He seems very uncomfortable.
Yes, he's like, I don't know, uncomfortable. He's like, he's very determined, a little bit aggressive even, but I think it's like...
Yes, and judgmental also.
But I think it comes from a place of concern or protection, you know? He's being very...
Now that's interesting, because yes, the vibe that we get here, John is a little bit skeptical of everything that he's seeing. They see evidence that there is a Luxon presence here. Dargo recognizes an Oltec lamp, I think it's called,
it's some
to
sort
ward
of
off evil.
brazier to ward off evil. Huh.
Is that a Luxon thing?
And they soon discover that they're in the presence of an old woman, old woman, the oldest lady we have ever seen on Farscape.
My grandma. What big teeth you have.
That we know of. At least she looks very old.
She's bedridden in a room that has moonlight streaming in from multiple directions, which at first I was going to be critical of, but it's in space. Maybe this planet has multiple moons.
Right, or maybe it's just like lights shining in. It's
Cool
just
moonlight. And she's a hazy figure hidden behind the stream of light in her bed before she leans forward and has some like really intense banter with Dargo.
What's the matter? Are you hideous?
Right, who immediately tries to avert his eyes and like tries to GTFO.
Please forgive me. I did not realize we must leave.
You will stay!
Because he is in the presence of someone that he apparently reveres quite a lot.
You're an Arakan.
Does that justify you collapsing in fear?
An Orakan. Now,
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that he responded with fear. He wanted to get out of there, apologize, and get away. We've seen him fear magic before. If you recall that old black magic, when it turned out that Maldus was a local sorcerer, Dargo was scared throughout. He was scared to approach the door. He wasn't trying to like let Aaron notice.
No,
but you can see him gripping his sword a little tighter.
Right. I mean, maybe he has like bad relationships with magic. I guess those aliens that invaded the planet where he got the Keyblade from, maybe they had something to do with suppressing Luxons with that kind of thing.
Oh, interesting. Well, hold on. No, the Qualter Blade was it was the last weapons that they had at the time. That's why it became the Luxons. Yeah, very good. It's an interesting design that they gave the female Luxon. So like Dargo, she's got these bone plates and tentacles off of her head.
Yep.
2 of her tentacles are tied around her neck.
Yeah, which I noticed is like are tied together, kind of in the same way that Dargo's chin tentacles are.
Yes, exactly.
So that must be a cultural thing. Yes, but she's also got the cheekbone plating, which
Yes.
Dargo doesn't. But they both have, of course, they have the nose shield.
Well, you don't know that he doesn't have it. Maybe his beard grows over it.
Yeah, okay, well, you'd probably see that, but...
Well, she's got hair growing over her bone plating as well that she lets down a little bit.
I mean, they're very prominent on her, and like they would be, unless Dargo has them like lower and different. Yeah, I mean, I disagree. I don't think he has them, but it doesn't look like he has them. Yeah.
Do you want to wager on that? You're gonna put your points where your mouth is.
I'm going to put 20 points on the fact that we are not going to see a shaven Dargo.
Okay, I'm not. You know what? No, I'm not going to say what I will and won't take. Yes, okay. 20 points on that. You're not going to see a shaven Dargo. Gonna take you a while to cash that one in.
I guess so. Yes, a long-term prediction.
So the Orakan wants him to approach.
To attend her.
She's testing him. Right, she's got a lot of power that she's exercising,
and she calls him a general, with much to everybody's surprise.
Rather young for a general.
General? She must be losing her eyesight.
Yes, but not my hearing.
Yeah. Well, not to
Zan. No, I guess not. John's gone like general, which of course is very shortly resolved after she stabs her hand into Dargo's chest.
Kalima Shakti De, Kalima Shakti De, Nai!
Exactly. Apparently causing him some discomfort, but not as much as you'd think as you'd have when someone thrusts their hand into your chest.
And has a little wiggle about.
Yeah, and then just like throws him right out of the room when she decides that he is a fraudster and a fake. And
Fraud!
No! Fraud!
Dargo!
and they get like yeeted out of the room.
Yeah. And so here's where John continues with his... I don't want to be the critical one, but this felt a little bit forced.
No, I agree.
Okay, I couldn't really figure out where his antagonism was coming from.
No, he was very angry and argumentative. Well, not argumentative, but confrontational.
Yeah, like as he was trying to convince Dargo to give up and leave. Like that's the thing that he wants to do. Let's get out of here. Is he maybe thinking, oh, is it like the vibe of your best buddy having a new girlfriend?
Right, maybe.
Is is Nilam the Luxon woman his Yoko Ono?
Oh dear, that would be like breaking up the band, yes.
Pharrell, I'm in the wrong band.
And Zan is Dargo's ally. Zan knows about Oricans. In fact, when earlier Dargo identified that she was an Orican, Zan immediately she bowed her head in respect and greeting. Just quietly in the background, lovely detail.
Dargo explains to John what the thing with the general is, that he apparently impersonated a general when they were being captured in order to make sure that the actual general wouldn't be tortured and break down, because he was apparently doing quite poorly.
Yeah. He mentioned, I took his tattoos. Now, how do you take someone's tattoos?
Well, I mean, Zahn later says, was it Zahn or John who says, and you never had them removed again, and he looks a little bit shameful and abashed. And
I even missed that. I must have been taking notes. We'll definitely have to do another complete rewatch after this one.
Yes.
John's plan to convince Dargo to quit sort of backfires. He says that she should understand this, and if she should understand why you did it, and if she doesn't, that's her problem. And Dargo goes,
"You're right." Good. So let's get back to Moya and heat up some Irish coffees.
No. You're right that she should understand that. Wait here.
Damn. We were almost out of here.
Oh, and Crichton gets he kicks the dust up off the ground, and his coat flows around him.
Angry little Crichton there.
I wanted that coat so bad.
Ooh, it's a very pretty coat, I'll give you that.
This is our cosplaying friend Greg, and my co-host on the other show, Rebel Air, where we do Star Wars Rebels, and I play your role. I sort of bullied him into buying this costume when it became available. He suits it so well.
Ooh, very nice. It is a very fetching look.
Hey, nice outfit.
Envious to my core.
So Dargo stalks back into the room and goes hey, this is not cool what you've been doing. You're not treating me fairly. I did my things for a reason. And she gets this little smug look on her face and goes I was only testing. I knew you had strength, but I wanted to see if you had spirit or whatever. What was it she says?
Fire. That's what she wanted.
Oh, yes.
She wants El Fuego. There was a huge sort of soap opera, estrella novela kind of vibe to this whole thing. They get so many close-ups.
Yes, and I noticed that Dargo seems to have other than acquired a tan, he also seems to have acquired some crow's feet around his cheekbones.
Yes,
he looks a bit older, I would say.
Yeah, you notice some wrinkling on his forehead as well,
right?
That he didn't have before. That wasn't so prominent.
Mostly his cheekbones, I would say. But
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a great look. I can imagine that they were so proud of the new makeup that let's do an episode where we can really show it off, and where Anthony Simcoe gets to show off. He does an amazing job in this episode.
Oh yes, he's always a very strong actor especially when he gets his emotional stuff.
Oh yeah, and he gets so much to do here. It's such a pleasure to see.
Chiana doesn't get very much to do this episode, other than laundry.
Yes. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why the Life on Moya segment sort of went away. I realized, oh my God, I'm going to have to shut up about so many things. Like you mentioned laundry at one point. I'm like, I can't talk about that.
We're going to get that at some point, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So she's doing laundry in Moya's amnexus fluid.
Yes.
A substance that we've heard referred to in the past, and apparently it's a rather good detergent, and Moya doesn't mind having food stains dissolved into her bodily fluids.
Might give her a happy little snack or something. But yes, it seems like some sort of pool with some sort of vacuum hover thing hanging over it with dry ice smoke coming off it, and Shana's into it up to her knees, apparently doing Dargo's laundry or her own.
Yeah, and Erin walks in and sort of demands that she does her laundry as
well. You're already doing Dargo's laundry, you might as well do mine. Yeah, but I like Dargo.
I really liked Chiana in this. I talked about before about how she made the most rapid development into embracing everybody as their family. Like, that continues to happen. An incredibly speedy development of her relationships, affections, antagonisms. Like, as a young person, that goes pretty fast.
True. Yeah, it's like wears her emotions on her sleeve, I suppose.
So the ritual is about to start, and
we get another good look at Dargo's new coat. Which seems to me
he's got a poncho.
Yes, which seems to have like a patchwork, fuzzy and ringmail combination. It's a bit
yeah, we get to see so much of the sort of Luxon fashion. I absolutely adore it.
There's a lot of talk about what exactly is supposed to happen, that this Orokin is going to die, pass on, and that someone has to attend to her.
She wants you to attend her. What exactly does that mean?
Whatever she wants it to mean.
So, if she wants to rip out your liver, snack on it with a Chianti, she can do that.
She wouldn't do that.
Well, what is she gonna do?
She's going to die, John.
To guide her into the next realm, and
and get a glimpse of the next realm. And Zan is very envious. John is trying to discourage him.
And apparently it's not without danger either. It's like it usually goes right, but apparently it's not entirely without risk to Dargo, which concerns John a lot.
But the process normally involves little risk.
How little risk? Oh no, let me put it this way. How wrong can it go?
I could die.
I do not understand, Dargo. What do you get out of it?
You know what? You sound like Rygel.
Again, a little more than I thought was earned, I've got to say. Like, I didn't remember loving this episode back in my first watch, and when we were starting to watch it, I couldn't for the life of me figure out why, because it's great. Everything we see here is awesome and amazing. And I realized I think it's about 3/4 in, I actually made a note. Oh yeah, getting bored now.
Bored. Will you stop doing that?
Like, yeah, it was just getting a bit more of the same. It lacked the sort of mania and energy that I usually expect from Farscape. It was more like soap opera-ish. In fact, I sort of got a Star Trek: The Next Generation vibe from it.
It was a bit slow-paced. I'll give it that.
Right, because you've got a mystery that they have to piece together, and then.
But it's not really a difficult mystery.
No,
it's like
exactly.
It's blatantly obviously what's going on.
Because what happens?
John walks in to confront the Orokin and has a little talk to her, and her demeanor changes completely.
Yeah.
In the beginning, she's this old hag who's just like being mean and yeah. And now she's almost tender and like, oh, I'm old and I'm dying, and do you know what it's like to be without your people? And he goes like, yeah, I got a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
And
she opens up to him very genuinely in a way that she doesn't to Dargo. Like, she has a role to maintain for Dargo, but not for John. He's just a stranger.
Isn't this where you're supposed to say, don't worry, I'm not going to hurt Dargo?
I can guarantee no such thing. I will, however, promise that I will do all I can to keep him from harm.
It's not very comforting.
It's the best I can do.
Okay.
And I really wonder what she's doing there. I mean, like, she's apparently hasn't seen another Luxon in 9 cycles, and now she's too old and weak to make the trip back home. And I was like, you know where you were going. You've been in that bed for 6 years. Like, you could have made that trip like sooner. Like, why is she here? Why isn't she not
never
leaving?
Get that.
Completely unresolved, or even mentioned why she's there or what she's doing there, or. But
why
at least
is she out there?
Yeah, but at least she promises to John to be careful and try to protect Dargo, or at least make sure that he sees it through safely.
And John softens up to him, which I guess this scene sort of validates the antagonism that John had earlier. Because, like, seeing him softening up and sitting down with Nilam, and we understand each other.
Very much
was
so.
Actually really, really nice.
Someone else who's had a makeover is Rygel, and it becomes really obvious in the shots that we get here. He looks absolutely amazing.
Doesn't he just?
He's got like...
he's got his eyebrows waxed, he's got...
But also his skin, he's got like he's got various skin tones rather than being like greyish-green all over.
He's got a little cucumber mask.
He does.
Helped himself to a spa day while Dargo was floating out in space.
Yeah, he looks amazing. He's like... I think he's got a little bit pudgier around the neck as well, but that might be just because he's getting more regular food.
Also, because he's got a new animatronic armature underneath, he's got a fully animatronic mouth now. So he's doing all these mouth movements with like his the corners of his lips tugging down. Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful choreography of earbrows and lips. And
he floats in to talk to Dargo really about like he's packing up and only the Luxon stuff, and like clearly he's like on the prowl again for like stealing more shit from people.
Yes, offering to do the negotiations and sell this Luxon stuff to the Orican.
Yes, like I don't want to sully our relationship with commerce, and he's like,
Let me do that.
no, leave it to me. Like I'll happily do that.
I like that they're taking the time. Like, it feels a little bit repetitive to us because we've been binging the show. But, this is the second episode of a new season. Yeah. You kind of need a reminder of what everybody's
is. Like, yes.
And Chiana is kind of surprising because she's the one who jumps in to restrain Rygel before Dargo has to slap him about the face.
Yes, she just like hugs an arm around him, like clamps her hand over his mouth and just shuts him up and basically finishes the talk with Dargo, who is like then wanders off. Like, again, there's a little bit of discussion about how dangerous this whole thing is.
Dargo lies.
He does.
Dargo says that it'll be totally fine to reassure Chiana. She doesn't buy it.
Gratuitous slow-mo shot as he wanders off. I noticed that there was a lot of those in this episode.
I sort of expected like flamenco guitar.
There was it was mostly like 90s TV series music, It's like not quite the same as 70s porn music, but it's
yes. This season introduces a new composer. So the most of the music I think in the first season was produced by Subvision, a team of musicians in Sydney, I believe, and now Guy Gross has taken over. Dargo has picked up his stuff from Moya, goes back down to the planet. He gets a new outfit.
He does have a new outfit,
He and Nilam both have these cool crimson, what is it?
Reddish, purplish red robes with lots of shiny banners.
Gold
and
patterns in rectangles. Like it looked fantastic. I got some of the vibes, honestly, from the New Moon of Delvia. Like the temple ship in Rhapsody in Blue. This temple sort of reminded me of that. It had a lot of circular rooms with lights pooling in. They spent a lot of time there. These robes, fire.
So the ritual begins. It turns out that our Orican has like some like floaty powers, which I guess is kind of like evident when how she yeeted Dargo out of the room.
Yeah, but, it's so cool. She takes his Qualta blade,
which is actually apparently sharp because like it's like without. She
slides her hand along it and cuts into the amazing.
We get a lengthy ritual in which there's like a lot of back and forth, lots of shots of John sitting in the antechamber like a father waiting for his baby to be born.
Yes, that's what I'm getting as well. And like they both strike their hands along the blade. Oh, both of their blood is black.
Yes.
Bad news.
The blood. What color is it?
The blade hovers up in the air. They chant at each other. Dargo's language did not sound like her language.
Oh. I didn't really pay attention.
It sounded consistent with earlier examples that we've heard of his Luxon language, but it entirely makes sense for a spacefaring culture to have multiple languages, of course.
Yeah, various regional accents. Maybe she speaks the Orican accent or the language, and he's just like a common peasant, or at least a warrior.
Like she's speaking Latin and he's praying in English. Because that's the prayer that he learned in school.
The sword hovers up, and it's all shot in the way that it's like it looks like it's poised to drop down on Dargo.
Yes, I had written down the sword of Dargocles.
I think we have an episode name.
Oh, the sword of Tentaklees. That's even better.
The sword of Tentaklees.
It's right there. Oh.
Yes, I think we have an episode title.
Earlier than usual.
Yeah.
Things are shaking. It's very dramatic. The fire is blazing. Fantastic camera work. Screaming. even heard audible, apparently, on Moya. We see Chiana looking up in surprises.
And I was really wondering about that. It's like, hang on, how does Chiana know about this thing going on? Why is she suddenly... which becomes evident soon enough. John's resolve breaks down and he starts barging into the room after he hears Dargo scream.
Yes, because Nilam has sensed something surprising. She senses
so much power,
so much unlimited power from Dargo that she changes her mind, and instead of leaving, she rejuvenates herself.
Yes, the ritual of regeneration or something, or rejuvenation. I don't remember what she calls it.
When I sensed your astonishing power, I decided to try the ritual of renewal instead.
Crichton sweeps his cool coat back like a really cool guy, and he pulls his cool gun, and he's so sexy. She effortlessly force pushes his pistol out of his hand,
even causing it to catch fire. And he's
it's got all these cool sparkles.
His hands briefly on fire, I think, and he's concernedly rushes over towards Dargo to make sure that he's all right. And
Nilam turns around,
and she's like, "After 10,000 years, time to conquer."
Yes. Very good. After 10,000 years, I'm free. Time to conquer Earth.
But yeah, no, she's like young and beautiful.
She's a babe. Look at me, I'm a babe.
Yes, I haven't felt like this. No pain, no fatigue. I can move.
Such a relief. Her hair is ginger again.
Oh yes. I guess that's a Luxon thing. It's still fairly palish blonde.
There's a lot more. I mean, it was grey before.
True.
Oh, and speaking of grey, our favourite grey girl, Chiana, is stuck in the pool, which has sort of solidified around her.
And she's she gets a little bit of the things that she said to Erin earlier thrown back at her about, you're not allergic to...
To Moyzam Nexus fluids or something.
Just wash them, will you? You're not allergic to Moyzam Nexus fluids, are you?
Oh, yeah, very funny, Erin. Look, can you please just do something?
And, Erin says, I'm not your servant.
Yes. Erin's being a little bit nasty, mean here. It's like...
Yeah, but have you seen she's got a new outfit as well? She's probably feeling extra catty. She's got leather pants on. She's sort of trying. Do you ever have that where you sort of reinvent yourself and you pick a different wardrobe and a haircut and you think, I'm going to be Kako. I'm going to be it's going to be a different me from now on.
Right. She doesn't really do anything at all in this episode, does she? She just shows up. Erin, yeah.
Yeah, she shows up and she tries to.
She's a little bit catty, and that's about it.
Chiana does take it in stride. Stop trolling with me.
Yes. Zahn is much more concerned and helpful, though.
Yeah, this was nice. I think this is the first time that we've had an all-girl conversation on Farscape.
I suppose, yes.
Team girls are dealing with this problem on Moya that they don't understand. Now, of course, we've seen it happening. As you said, it wasn't a very difficult mystery to figure out. Whatever rejuvenated Nilam also caused these problems on Moya.
Yes.
And this was kind of, over the course of the episode, became a little bit frustrating how long it would take them to...
I mean, Erin figured it out instantly.
Yeah, and then Zahn sort of rejected it. Well,
yes.
It's not necessarily... of course it is. We've seen how it's edited.
Correlation doesn't mean causation. Dargo and Orican are having trying to explain to John what's going on. The rejuvenation was successful.
Clearly fondling each other.
They are eye-fighting each other, and
eye-frelling. Thank you.
Sorry, yes.
And it takes John a long time before he realizes that.
Third wheel here.
Yeah, Dark. I'm just gonna buzz up to Moya and see.
I think that's a good idea, John. Weirder and weirder.
And Dargo doesn't even let him finish.
No,
I think that would be a good idea, John. Get out of
here. They're at it before he's out of the room, basically. I guess Dargo gets to have his mivonks fondled as this.
Oh, she goes to the bed and invites him to join her. The wind sort of picks up. She's standing there and everything's sort of fluttering about her while she does her provocative poses.
Dargo is like pleased as pie, and he's...
I'm going to get a lot of value out of these gifs of Dargo's face. Ooh. The devil rides tonight. Hey!
Yes, so we have a little fade to black here after they retreat to the bed. Back to Moya, where they're still working on trying to get Chiana out of the pool.
Do you notice how the pool is surrounded by a little sort of go-kart track for the DRDs?
Oh.
It's got a little ramp that he's sliding down. It's really cool.
The DRDs are on the stuff and they're to break out of it.
Using their lasers to no effect.
Erin is bashing at it with her shinty stick.
With a what?
A shinty stick.
I don't know what that is. That's like a shillelagh.
You know shinty, right? It's like
I don't.
It's like Irish hockey.
That sounds cool.
And it's played with a stick that has roughly that shape. So.
Oh, we'll have to get into that.
I probably should say Gaelic hockey or Gaelic hockey, depending on which side of the water you're on.
Meanwhile, Zan she's got her chemistry kit out, and it doesn't seem to be helping.
No, nothing she can do. No solvents. No. Erin helpfully suggested that she go see if she still has any grenades left.
She was joking, right?
Well,
She was kidding, right? Tell me that she was kidding.
Well, with Aaron, you never know.
They check in with Pilot, who's noticed like a few more problems, including like a deterioration of Moya's skin, which is problematic, especially on, he calls it Hammond side.
Oh, yes.
Tier 20, Hammond side.
They've used starboard before.
Pilot cautions you remain starboard and high.
So apparently it's starboard and Hammond side.
Okay. I mean, it could also be dorsal or ventral, you know.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
We don't know where it happens.
The Nilam's room is definitely where it happens. John is waiting outside. Like, why didn't you go back to Moya? Why are you just hanging out? I mean, you're being a good sort of dorm room.
I guess, yes. Like maybe like a chaperone or something to make sure that they're like it doesn't go too far, or that it's like. I mean,
when you're waiting outside while they're bagging, you're a bad chaperone. Like,
okay, so I suppose.
I mean, the whole concept of a chaperone is not necessarily the healthiest thing.
Maybe he's sitting there just like preparing to let Dargo have his walk of shame or something. Like.
He does not look to be ashamed. They're having some very fun flirting, and
it's a little bit of afterglow, waiting for them to get ready for round 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know.
Or 9. She has a lot of catching up to do, and so does he, for that matter.
I need a ritual of renewal myself.
I guess he could have been a little bit pent up after being caught on Moya for all that time, yes?
Well, he's had blue mivonks this whole time. But now with that being spent, they actually talk about the future. She talks about how she wants a new life and that she wants to return to Luxa. And
she can give him everything. She can make him a real general and
help his friends.
And he only wants to see his son again.
And she says, well, we'll do that.
We'll do that,
We'll
make
find
that
him
happen.
together.
Yeah.
And I think she's even being like... She's overcome with the enthusiasm, but this is not like a young, fresh-faced woman who is imagining a future. This is an experienced older woman who knows what it means to make these sort of life decisions.
Right,
and
but she's gotten her second lease on life. And
she knows what to do with it.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of a good choice to have this story come this early in the season, because, I mean, did you think that this might be a long-term character?
No.
So why not?
Oh, that's interesting. It's a good question. It just felt like a character of the week, really. It's like okay, we're having this thing. Especially when it started creating a problem
with Moya. Right.
Also, the way that they're hitting it off so soon. Like, if the sexual tension gets resolved within the first half an hour, then it's clearly not going to be a long-term character. It's going to be going to be a heartstring pull at best.
That is a very good point. I mean, sort of the same with Jelena. And John.
Yes.
Yeah, if they kiss in the first episode where they meet, then he's got to die.
Odds are that it's not going to last. Yes.
Wow.
It's a bit of a meta way of looking at things, but it's like I guess you process that anyway, whether or not you actually think about it.
Yeah, right.
It's
you can't help it.
It's that kind of those kind of clues you become a thing that means your expectation isn't going to lead to this being a long-term thing.
Yeah, and it's different for us because we're not even fully binging it. We're only doing one episode a week, and we don't have the long hiatuses. So we're still noticing more patterns than we would if we were watching this week to week, year to year. But imagine like binging this from start to finish, as many of our listeners have done, and we heartily encourage you to continue doing so because it's a fantastic series.
John has actually returned to Moya because he's now trying to
trips up and down.
Yeah, because he's now trying to help with getting Chiana out, even to the point
he's just poking at it with his finger. That's the whole sum of his help.
I mean, they're so desperate that this is not working that they actually get Rygel out of bed.
What emergency could possibly justify waking me up?
Who shows up in a gorgeous dressing gown and his PJs.
Oh yeah, I love his Hugh Hefner look.
And this is also a scene where you get to see he gets to show off his new face job very well. It's like he looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's got a new skincare regimen that's really working for him.
The food is.
Now I just want to see. Sorry. Now I just want to see fan art of Rygel having a spa day, surrounded by dry ice smoke and with little snails on his eyes that he can snack on later on.
Yes. However, things go wrong because Moya is developing hull breaches.
Virtually unheard of. The outer skin has ruptured, and so has the inner. In the sluice chamber where they are now, they get blasted with a bunch of wind. John is sensible. He calls for the this tier to be locked off, protecting the rest of the ship. Chiana, like when her hair whips around, she sort of looks like Roxette in a music video.
Oh,
it's
I see what you mean.
Cool.
Yes. It's a very dramatic bit of wind going around, sucking some tools out.
Cool CGI shot of like a spanner being sucked through the hole, going through the hull and out in space. It's so cool.
Which is a little bit weird because this suggests that there's quite a distance between the inner hull in the chamber and the outer hull, which Rygel gets sucked into and gets his ass stuck in the hole, plugging it up neatly.
Yeah.
But later on, we see when Erin shows up again in her spacesuit, she says that she's been outside and checking the damage, and she saw Rygel's ass hanging out the window.
Okay. Let me see if I can work this out. I'm gonna be Grant McAloon's advocate in this one. That's the writer. He did PK Tech Girl before. Let me see. Okay. Yes. Right. So what happens is Rygel gets sucked out, but he's the exact right shape to plug up the hole.
Yes.
And I have written down the words butt plug, which in this case I don't have to bleep out. I don't think even when John says butt hole, it's totally valid. So with him serving as a cork protecting Moya from decompression, Erin has gone outside and comes back in and says that not only that she's seen the damage, but also she's holding a chunk of Moya's outer skin around the hole that came out off fairly easily. So here's what I think: there was a hole in Moya's outer skin first, and then there was a hole in the inner skin, specifically in the sluice chamber. But those holes weren't anywhere near each other.
Yeah.
Right. So there was like a 20-meter distance. Yeah. That's the distance that the spanner had to travel. But between that and Erin getting outside, the hole on the outer skin had widened. More had flaked off. Yeah. And thus, by now, it was large enough to see Rygel's butt space plug.
Yes, fair enough. Rygel is not very happy with his position. He tries to wiggle out of it, which is stopped by John. It's like, no, stay. I mean, it seems to make sense that he would stay because, even if he did get out, then the air would get sucked out again, and he would still have a problem. So it's
he says, "I want to get out. I want to get out." No, says John. You want in?
Yes,
in. You want to go? He's being very caring as John. But then Yoko Ono shows up.
Yeah, she just prances into the room together with a still quite stricken Dargo.
Yeah, he's walking especially bow-legged.
Oh dear, yes.
She's got a lovely new outfit. I'm sorry, I'm just so focused on all these cool outfits.
It was a fantastic wardrobe episode. I'll give you that.
And Nilam says that she wants to help, and she prepares a healing incantation because she has the power to help heal a living ship. But it backfires tremendously.
Yeah, it only makes it worse. The more trembling, more breakage. She declares that she has to go meditate on it. With Dargo follows her to a chamber. She sits and does the meditation. It clearly doesn't work. She actually puts her hand on one of the struts of Moya, and it leaves a
sort of
blackened print. So she clearly realizes that she is damaging Moya.
But Dargo realizes it a lot more. He talks to her, trying to convince her that this is a problem, and she doesn't want to hear that. She wants to think that she can solve it. There's a solution for it somewhere. I just need to go down and get my resources so I can help heal this ship.
Which Dargo reluctantly agrees to.
I think wisely and reluctantly. He's not so easily convinced by her wiles, but he is sympathetic to someone who, I mean, she wants to save her life.
Yeah,
she doesn't want to die. He can understand that. Well, he wants to give her an opportunity.
Erin immediately figures out what's going on, that our Oricon is leeching off Moya's life energy, which Zahn kind of doesn't want to agree to.
No, it's that same sort of thing of respect and wanting to support a fellow clergy person.
The argument doesn't get much traction, though, because Pilate asks for Erin to come to his chamber because he has something he wants to discuss with her in person.
And he is not well.
He is not doing very well.
He's lit all green, his eyes are sunken and sallow.
Yeah, he does not look like a happy Pilate. It's never mentioned what his species is it? It's always just mentioned as Pilate.
Yeah. Well, interesting that you mentioned it. He does talk about later on in this episode how pilots, in the plural, that when pilots are bonded to Leviathans, as he is, that shortens their lifespan from their usual 1,000 cycles plus to the
300 cycles-ish, which
for a Leviathan.
Leviathans regularly get to be over 300 years old, apparently. Yeah. And he would have it no other way, because apparently the ability to travel and bond with the ship like Moya is outweighs the disadvantage of having your lifespan cut by 2/3.
Yeah, or significantly more in this case, because Moya is dying of old age because of this. And Erin's response is,
I don't know if this can be reversed, Pilot, but I promise you this. I won't let Neelam keep what she's stolen.
Goes to stop her and Dargo from leaving. She grabs her big gun and runs into John on the way back in the corridor.
Yep, there's a standoff, a confrontation, because Erin has misunderstood Dargo and Neelam's departure as them GTFOing, rather than they were still trying to help and fix things. They didn't have the intention of leaving. But yes, she opens fire, a really cool blast from her big gun.
Extreme gratuitous slow motion shot, which doesn't seem to affect Dargo because
he's quick.
He is after that between the moment that shot goes off and that he
dashes 3 or 4 meters.
Yes,
or as they say in America, 3 or 4 meters.
Oh. He interposes himself between the shot and our Oracle.
And he stands there for 20 seconds while the blaster bolt approaches.
Slowly moving.
And then Neelam...
Yep, she splits it in two. It goes around the both of them and rejoins in the back and hits the wall. Neelam immediately puts them on ice.
Yes, her eyes flash red, and then our heroes are encased in crystal.
Yes.
It's really well done, I thought. You can see the sort of lensing of the glass around them.
No idea how they did it. There's also a shot of it breaking apart later on, and it looks very good.
Dargo and Neelam return back to the Sagrada Familia.
Yes.
Hey, before we get there, in this scene, there's a lot of camera moves with CGI, because I think the crystalline encasement, I think that is all computer generated.
Yeah.
But you have these.
You can see it move a little bit, or that.
Yeah. So you have these camera moves, there's even a pan over to the clamshell before the hologram of Pilate appears.
Yeah.
CGI with moving cameras was extremely expensive then. So
yes.
This is where their pennies went. This and the costume department, of course.
The costume department, at least I suppose they can reuse those costumes. We might see them again later, I suppose.
Everybody needs pajamas.
That's true.
Neelam is in her pajamas, having tried a bunch of options, and none of them have worked.
Yes,
and
we've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas.
And Dargo, guides her to realizing the truth and what she needs to do. He wants her to decide it for herself.
Yes.
That's the respect he's showing her. John has shown up in the meantime, and Dargo continues that respect because he opens the door to face John with his sword held out.
John looks at first like he's going for his gun.
Yeah, but this is also kind of manufactured tension.
It is.
Unholsters his gun, again showing off his cool coat. I would too if I had a new coat that I really enjoyed like that.
But he puts it on the table, the gun, that is not the coat. And him and Dargo have a little heart-to-heart where he basically spells things out to Dargo, who...
Already knows,
yes.
He doesn't need to hear it, but this was the point where I was sort of getting a little bit bored, because they're great scenes, but we had a lot of these heart-to-heart scenes, and it's all conveying information that we kind of already have. And in this case, they're conveying information that neither of them needs. Both characters already know what's going on. They have the respect. It's weird that I feel so critical about the writing and pacing of this episode, because Grant McAloon, his only other credit, the only other stories that he's done on Farscape was PK Tech Girl, which was great.
Yeah, it felt a little bit drawn out. It's like this could have been an A or a B plot and not a whole story arc on its own for the entire episode, It's like...
Something's occurring to me. You mentioned that one of your least favorite episodes in season 1 was Rhapsody in Blue.
Yeah.
which is also a very talky episode. Now, we don't mind those talky episodes, but all set in a limited set of locations, like the same characters having similar conversations over and over again. Like there, it was the new moon of Delvia, their temple. Here, it's a Luxon Orican's temple.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's like it felt like it was drawn out a little bit more than it needed to be. Like, I guess they needed to fill the hour.
Yeah, you don't suddenly have like a 20-minute episode.
No.
Oh, but Anthony Simcoe gets like his transition to the sort of rage and grief of what he knows he needs to do.
Don't you think I know what has to be done?
Opening up to John in a way that he would not show to anyone else.
No,
they sit next to each other, and you see Dargo even reproaching himself for weeping and trying to keep it together.
Although he knows that he has to lose what he has gained, namely a smoking hot Luxon babe.
Yeah. Yes, that, of course, because that's what he's thinking about. He's not thinking about, a religious icon and this person that I've really come to respect. No, he's just, what am I going to do without a bear?
Who's going to tickle my mivonks?
Hey, did you catch the sparks between him and Chiana? The little tender little sparks, like the fact that she's doing his laundry, the fact that she came to his aid, the fact that he lied for her.
Yes, I suppose.
Like, hurt sort of look when she saw him walk in with Milan the Bob.
A little bit, not as much as you just say so, but yeah, there's definitely been a camaraderie. I guess they're the youngest two on board.
Oh, that is true. Yeah. He might even be younger than John at this point.
Oh, yes. I don't know how old John is, but astronauts are rarely young, although he is like...
I thought you were going to say astronauts rarely get old.
Well...
Fortunately, that is not the case in our universe. We don't know what it's like in IASA.
True. So, yes, we have a dramatic scene where the ritual starts anew, except this time it's a little bit more stabby than renewally.
I mean, it's very intimate.
Yeah.
They're holding each other now. She has asked for his strength. Because
yes, she's walked a path and turned back once before, and she's not sure if she can do it on her own, and she has to,
I've chosen my path. I just don't know if I have the will to travel it.
I really liked this. Because, like, throughout this episode, I've called her Yoko Ono, which is a mean joke. That I don't mean, because that's not her role at all. She's not manipulative. She's not disrespectful of other people. She's just overcome by a desire that she hasn't yet had the time or emotional preparation to process.
Yeah.
And hey, there but for the grace of God go we. When you get a gift like this that you know you can't keep, you're going to try and negotiate. You're going to try and keep it.
See if we can find a way out that works.
And even when you know you have to give it back, as she has to, it's such a cost. She's failed once before, and what do you do when you fail at something? You ask for help.
Yeah.
I need your strength once more.
And he's there for her. I really, really liked this.
There's more black blood slowly dripping down, but this time as the blood drop rolls away from the tip of the blade, it kind of solidifies and then shatters out into a spark, into a series of sparks, and thus comes the end of the Orican, who actually reverts back to her old states. Not quite as much as she was before, but she does lose her...
Oh, her hair's grey again.
Exactly,
it's Melissa Jaffer again, the actress that I know as the Keeper of the Seeds, I think, from Mad Max Fury Road. Oh, fantastic. And Dargo kisses her again, because it was never about a hot babe.
No. She is an Orican, which apparently holds great status in Luxon culture.
And I think he truly did love her.
A bit like Romeo and Juliet. It lasted 3 days and 6 people died.
Yeah, not exactly the best love story of all time.
Exactly.
Gotta be honest. But with Nilam's death, the amnexus fluid liquefies again. Chiana gets to caper about.
You know, until today, I never really realized how much I love my feet.
Fran, your feet. How about loving your life?
Oh, there's a nice recovery scene where Zan is tending to Rygel.
Oh, yes, giving him a little footsie massage.
She's giving him a little foot rub.
I don't know how you survive, Ryge. Your butt must be made out of reinforced Krandak.
I have no idea what Krandak is, but if I've lost any sensation below middle level, then I'm going to test how sensitive Dargo's nether regions are with a red hot... Ooh, careful. Ticklish spot.
Ticklish spot. Pilot and Erin have a little talk together where we mentioned...
yes, she learns more backstory.
About how they bond and how it gives them the opportunity to see the universe, which apparently they never otherwise don't do, which is also not something that's explained. But what is? Are they always a sedentary? I don't know. I mean, clearly. We've never seen Pilot's legs or lower half or whatever, and look, we know he has tendrils throughout the ship. But
Very good.
But it really makes me wonder what that species looks like when they're not bonded to a leviathan.
Oh, vibrating with curiosity, right? Oh, vibrating. There's little. Do you notice the little wall DRD who's fixing the hole in the ship?
Yeah,
He's just stuck to the side. Oh, the DRDs are they're like the doozers in Fraggle Rock.
Also, Jim Henson production. So yeah, I can see how there's a little bit of parallel there.
Aaron holds Pilot's claw. I really like that detail.
John goes in to comfort Dargo with his new loss, I suppose.
Yeah, offers him, do you want to be alone? And Dargo says yes, but not yet.
Yes.
Which, do you get that?
Did I get that as a reference, or did I understand what he meant?
What does he mean?
It probably yes at some point, but not right now. It's like
I don't know. Is there something deeper to it that eventually he knows he has to live life alone, but he wants companionship? And
I guess so. Yeah.
It's
something like that.
The bed is empty, as if Nilam sort of like dissolved or her body was disposed of.
Maybe like the attendant that we never see again did help clean it up. Or
the sort of lizardy Igor.
Right, yes.
With the bright green eyes, I noticed.
Yeah, lightly feline-shaped face, but more like a scaly covered that she was. I mean, I say she, but it like, I don't know.
No, I can get
feminine.
that. Yeah, there's a certain androgyny about them, but...
Yeah.
Okay, so... Whew. Yeah, how do we feel about... I mean, honestly, it wasn't a very, like, exhausting, thrilling episode. In fact, I noticed, like, the button at the end does not feel tonally different than the rest of the episode.
The button?
The last scene, how it's sometimes a come down,
right.
or it's kind of melancholy, or it's...
No,
or
it's not.
It's usually a contrast to the rest of the episode, and this was kind of melancholy romantic throughout.
Yeah.
Or tragic romantic.
Yeah, standalone episode, a little bit of character development, I guess, for Dargo, like more tragedy for the Luxon warrior.
Yeah, he gets a lot of that, doesn't he?
Yes, but then again, he also got his...
Yeah. I'm standing by here with a censor bloop.
Yeah.
All right, quick note review then. Let's see, right. Did we miss anything? Shit, I've got 3 pages of just notes about their outfits. Outfits. Oh, yes, that Nilam was very tsundere, the sort of Japanese anime concept of being hot and cool. I liked how defensive John was about Dargo, even though I've been critical about that. His antagonism came out of nowhere.
She's a holy woman revered by all Luxons.
And holy women never go bad. So why is she way out here, all by herself, alone?
I don't know.
Right. You don't know. She could have been excommunicated. She could have been kicked out for putting her hands in other people's business!
Her worthiness is not in question. Mine is.
Dargo, just because some ancient Luxon doesn't like the feel of your spleen does not mean she has the right to call my friend a fraud!
That's some jock overreaction that I do kind of like.
Yeah, I think that was like the Willy and Woody part of the episode.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
My Woody would definitely go towards either the way John and Dargo seem to have like developed this rapport, and especially how defensive and protective John is of Dargo. It's either that or schoolboy giddy Dargo after he.
You are glorious.
We are glorious.
I'm about to see a booby.
Yes, that was amazing. That was so well played. That was.
I agree.
Such a fun scene.
I agree. I love like kid Dargo. He's such fun. Just the way he purses his lips and goes ooh. Oh, there was a good pun in there that I sort of glossed over. When he's talking about the general tattoos, John says, okay, so you've got a general's bar codes.
Yes.
Get it? Yeah, general's bars and bar codes.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was...
it was amusing.
See, when you say it's amusing in that tone, it's actually worse. Okay, I'm just some feedback from me to you.
Sorry. No, thank you. I will keep that in mind. Did we have any Woodies? Willies?
I'm trying to. So my Willy is kind of the length and the sort of
the pacing, the Everybody being like, there's an obvious solution to the problem that's occurring.
Yes, everybody. How everybody was struggling not to come up with a solution that was obvious to everyone,
other than Aaron, who immediately stated it and was promptly ignored.
Yeah, right. Yes, yeah.
It's a little odd, don't you think, that all Moya's problems developed just as this shaman woman turned herself young?
It's not necessarily linked.
But that's the worst criticism I think I have of this episode, which I genuinely enjoyed. Melissa Jaffer did a great job. The Barb Nilam was played by a different actress, but still voiced by Melissa Jaffer.
Oh, it was. I wasn't sure if it was a different actress or if they just slathered her with old people makeup in the opening scene.
Right. Yeah, because the makeup is so good. You just don't know.
It could have been so much, so easy to do that.
My Woody has to go to all the outfits, and possibly John's is my favorite, and this is
John's coat.
Yeah. So this is from me to our cosplaying buddy Greg. We expect more photos, please. It's such a cool outfit. Are we going with the Sword of Tentaklees?
Yes, I think we have to go with the Sword of Tentaklees.
Oh, I just realized there's a bit of a sex metaphor there.
Oh.
And that's the story so far, Farscape.
We'll see you next week with episode 203, Taking the Stone.
Yes, and we have a synopsis from Lee. Do you have that there?
Yeah, in which space parenting starts on hard mode with a questionable safety net in place, and whose hex has them hesitate to hoard.
What? You know what? That one's actually baffling to me as well. I thought I remembered this episode, but I'm really keen to see how that turns out. You can find us at SoFarscape on Farscape and Twitter, Facebook and Twitter. You know, I actually type in Farscape when I'm trying to get to Facebook to update the new episode, and I type in Farscape anyway. And sofarscape.com. We would love to hear from you. Team Kaki needs more helpers, and I definitely need a lot of help coming up with these synopses. So check us out at SoFarscape. I'm Team Kaki.
I'm Kay.
So Farscape, so good.